Hi there, this is going to be a Q&A episode of the Wholehearted Business Show. So get comfortable, get cosy, get yourself a cup of tea, get ready to listen to some of the questions that I've had submitted, and let's dive in. Hi there, welcome to the Wholehearted Business Show. I'm Laura. I help health and life coaches get more clients, grow their businesses and live the best lives while they do it. And today on the show, we're doing a Q&A episode. So I'm really excited about this. I would love to do another Q&A episode of the show over the summer. So if you have any questions that you would love for me to answer and give you a little bit of a shout out on the show, do let me know. There's a few different ways you can do this. You can DM me on Instagram. I'm at Wholeheartedly Laura. Just send me a DM and say, I'd love for you to answer this question on the show. You can let me know if you want me to give you a shout out or not. That's totally up to you. If you want me to mention who you are, that's absolutely fine. Or if you are listening on the podcast and you look in the show notes, at the very top of the show notes, there is a link that says, want to ask Laura a question or give feedback, click here, and you will be able to directly message me that way. That's a really, really cool feature through Buzzsprout, so please use that. That would be lovely. Any question that you have, I'm really, really happy to answer it. Great content for me. You're doing me a favour giving me some questions to answer on the show, but also a lot of people will find your questions helpful as well and having me answer them. So any questions, just give me a shout. So we're going to get into a few questions that I've had. I'm going to try and keep this fairly short. I've got 3 questions that I'm going to give feedback on today. I won't mention people's names because I haven't actually asked them for that permission, but for future Q&A episodes I will do. So the first question that I had, I'm going to just look and read this one down. So insight into money, please. I'm graduating soon and have no idea what to charge. This is a good juicy question when it comes to pricing. The first thing that I'll say is that I will link to an episode of the show that I've done previously on pricing, so you can check that out where I've talked about this in a bit more depth. But ultimately, when it comes to pricing, there are kind of like 3 different ways that I approach the whole topic of pricing. The first one is to sit down and actually do the math, and by that I mean if you know that you want to earn a certain amount of money a year and you know that you have an offer that you want to sell and you know that that's the only offer you're going to have, or you're going to have a couple of offers, you can sit down and break down what that looks like, or how many you would need to sell, or how many you would need to deliver to reach your income goal for that year. And that can be really interesting. It can be eye-opening because sometimes you're thinking like, shit, there's no way I'm going to hit that level of income because I can't deliver on that amount of offers of that or whatever. It kind of gives you a bit of a reality check, and it also just allows you to see it in very much in black and white what that looks like. It also means that you can see whether or not you need like an introductory pricing and then to work up to your ultimate income goal. It also means that you can look at your marketing and how you can kind of meet those numbers. So it's a really useful exercise just as and it's not like the be all and end all, but it's a really useful one just to get a feel of what that looks like. This is really, really great if you're a new coach and you're focusing on one-to-one work, because you can sit down and say, right, if I want to make 50k a year and I want to work with, or I have the capacity to work with, like 20 clients, then that you just need to divide 50k by 20 and then you know what your price is. And then you can look at that price and think, oh, how do I feel about that price? Is that a price that I feel comfortable with? And this kind of brings me on to the next question, which is to kind of feel it out. And sometimes a really good exercise that I do with clients is I will throw a number at them and just say, right, if you charged £3,000 for this or $3,000, how does that feel? And they will go, that feels shit scary and there's no way I could charge 3k for this. Or they will go, actually, I think that's probably a little bit low and I think I could go higher. And it's about that gut kind of reaction. And I think with pricing, based on what your gut feeling is, you can start to look at, okay, you want to be kind of like just under your comfort zone edge. This is the way that I like to see it. And one of my wonderful former mentors, business coaches that I used to work with, Lucy Sheridan, she said this and she was like, you kind of it wants to feel like a bit of like, it's just that edge of your comfort zone, because that's our growth space. So when it comes to pricing, that's a good place to look at as well. I mean, there are also very practical things that you need to look around pricing. And, I think some kind of business coaches kind of, think that we're operating in this magical fairyland where we can charge whatever the fuck we want. And, we can charge whatever the fuck we want, but whether people will pay for that is a different matter. So there's also the market forces that we are dealing with as well. And I think that's another thing to take into consideration. But sometimes the only way to measure that, or to get a measure of what that looks like, is by picking a price and running with it. And sometimes that's what we've got to do, is we've got to just pick a price and go for it. Something that I'm working through at the moment with pricing is my courses. So I'm repricing all of my courses and programs at the moment. So it's really interesting kind of thinking about some of these tools that I've used around pricing before. So hopefully that answers that question from the person who answered that. Like I say, I won't do a shout out because I haven't asked permission for to share her name, but basically that's what I would be looking at in terms of pricing, just those different approaches to get started with, because it is, you can pick a number basically when it comes to what to charge, but you've got to, I think the ultimate thing is you have to feel confident to say that price on a discovery call and not flinch, or not flinch much. You know, you've got to have faith in your prices. And what I found personally and professionally in my work with clients is that if you don't feel, you know, if you don't have faith in your prices, then you will struggle to show up and sell your offers. So it really is about finding that happy space, and also to know that your prices will change and shift and grow as your business grows and as your confidence grows and as your social proof and testimonials grow, and you can actually show the value of what it is that you're offering. All of that stuff will come into the mix as well. The next question was, I don't want to be booked out with one-to-one clients. Can I start with a course and a few clients? Absolutely. I don't think there's any reason why not. I think what people, I suppose part of the answer to this question is how experienced you feel you are to inform the content of a course. And what I mean by that is what happens for most people, and actually one of the episodes of the show that we've done really recently with Caitlin Batcher, we talked about the right time to create a course, and she was kind of like, you know, you can do it fairly quickly. I think often what people do is that they base the content of their course on the common route that they would take people through in coaching. And obviously coaching people one-to-one is how you get that experience. So I feel like there's maybe like a bit of a, you know, a bit of a question there, or a bit of a thought there that you would want to be looking at. How confident am I in giving people this information to get the result based on the experience that I have? If I feel confident that I've got the experience and I know what people need to have and in what order and in what format to get them that result, then yeah, go for a course. The other thing to bear in mind with a course is that the way that you sell, or the way that you make course sales profitable, is different to how you would make one-to-one client work profitable. And by that I mean is that if you are selling like a £250 or $250 course versus a £2,000 or $2,000 coaching package, the number of people that you're going to have to sell that to be profitable or to hit an income goal is going to be different. So I would tend to say is that if you are in the realm of selling courses and selling digital products where you are wanting them to be part of your business model in their own right and not a strategic tool. So what I mean by that is that sometimes small digital products can actually work as strategic tools to further your business rather than profitable offers in their own right. You know, and that's a different question. But if you want your course to be part of your business model and profitable in its own right, then you are going to need to be looking at your audience size, your lead generation, like your marketing, like you're going to have to go big on that, you know. And I mean, you still have to go big on that if you want one-to-one clients as well, but I think the volume needs to be a lot higher than versus one-to-one clients. So I hope that has answered that question on that one. And then the next question is, I'm trying to learn about Substack, so would love your take on that as a platform. Really interesting question. So for anyone who's not familiar with Substack, it's kind of like I would have used to have called it a blogging platform or a writing platform, but actually you can now share audio and video on there. But basically it's how do I even begin? I mean, I'll put the link, you know, go and check out Substack if you haven't come across it before. What I find with platforms, like I get like a vibe, there's a vibe with Substack that I do really, really like. And to be fair, starting a Substack is something I've had on my list for 2024 for a long time that I haven't yet done. So I'd love to eventually start to do that. But Substack is basically a place where you can go, there's a community of people on there, you can create content and you can have that behind a paywall. So it's traditionally been a place where writers have gone and been able to get paid well for their work. So there's a handful of people who write content on Substack who get paid very, very well because they've managed to build an audience and have people pay to get access to their content. So you can have free content in there, but you can also have content behind a paywall that people need to subscribe to access. So in terms of a coaching business, there's a few different ways that you can potentially benefit from that. You can obviously generate income just through having your content behind the paywall. So that's an option. Also, it can form part of your overall marketing because there is a community of people on there. So what I tend to see as, there's definitely like a search engine element with Substack, which you can get into and look at. So there's a search engine element. I think the biggest element with Substack is the community base on there. And I think for me, there's quite a specific vibe of people who are on there. And in my experience, it tends to be a lot of people who are just really pissed off with social media, who are really pissed off with like short form content and actually want a little bit more substance. So it can be an amazing platform for a lot of different coaching niches, especially where you want to have more meaningful, deeper connections with people. So those are the things I'll be thinking about. And in terms of marketing, it really is about building a community on there. So I think if you were going onto Substack, and I have had a previous client who has gone onto Substack and who's doing it really, really well, who kind of didn't want to be on Instagram quite so much. And what I would be advising and what I advise to her in terms of growth is you want to build connections with other people who are on Substack in terms of other creators on Substack. And I think a big part of the growth is around the networking that you do and being part of the community on that platform. And it is a beautiful community from everything that I've seen. It's a really wonderful community on there. So with Substack, those are the things I was thinking about. I think it can be, if you love writing, great platform. If you are happy to do the work to build community and network, beautiful platform. If you're interested in creating content and having it behind a paywall, brilliant platform. If you kind of don't want to bother with like your own website, your own blog, because it also has like an email newsletter kind of function, kind of as the whole way it works, that's an option. So it can be attractive for a lot of different things. And again, I would go on there, if you were getting started, I would go on there, subscribe to a few Substacks, get a feel for what the platform's like, how it works. Because when I've gone on it, it has been a little bit difficult to kind of like get my head around the different parts of the, how it works, the different elements, the different sections you've got on there and things like that. So subscribe to some. A really fantastic resource on Substack is Claire Venus. So she's fairly local to me. Claire Venus, I will put a link to her Substack. She has Sparkle on Substack and she is just a total like Substack person. So if you want to follow someone or learn from someone about Substack, I would go and check out Claire. She's amazing. So I will put a link to hers. I'll put a link to some of my favourite Substacks that I'm subscribed to, that I read, that I really enjoy. And yeah, it can be a fantastic place to get dug into for marketing purposes. And like I said, there's also the income generation element potential as well. But you just want to think about like, I think the main question is, are your people on there? Because it is got a very, for me, I feel it's got quite a specific audience on there, and you need to be confident that your kinds of people are going to be on there and actually like on that platform and on Substack. So yeah, I hope that is helpful. I hope that has answered that question. And those are the first bulk of like questions. I wanted to keep these episodes quite short, so I've only done 3 so far. I've got a couple of other questions for the next one, which I'll do in a couple of weeks' time. If you have a question, like I say, please do answer. You're actually helping me out because I really enjoy doing these, and it's lovely to see what questions you've got. So do let me know. Send me a DM on Instagram. I'm at Wholehearted Laura. Look at the link in the show notes. It's a very, very top link. It says, got feedback or ask a question for Laura. Click here, click on that, let me know. Or pop me an email, laura@wholeheartedlaura.com, and I will happily answer. So yeah, please let me know any questions you've got. I will come back for another Q&A episode of the show. I'll be back next week. So yeah, let me know any questions that you've got, and I will see you next time, guys. Hope this has been useful. Take care. Bye.